Welcome to this relatively short yin practice. It's winter now, so we'll focus on the bladder meridian and the kidney meridian today. So you want to begin on your belly and also have a bolster handy and or pillows if you like to have props for your practice. I like a blanket as well on my mat for comfort. So onto the belly we go. And you might just even stay here or come onto the forearms for Sphinx. And the arms, the elbows could be wide, or perhaps you prefer to play with the hands and place the hands wide. See how that feels. We soften the legs in this variation. You can also have pillows or bolsters, depending on what you've got available to prop yourself up between the chest and the arms, if that works for you. This one's a little high, but just to show you what I mean. And then we stay here for several minutes. Most yin postures are at least held for 3 to 5 minutes. And Sphinx puts compression on the kidneys. Water element to focus of winter practice. Really breathe into that belly. See if you can soften the jaw, if there's tension there. And sense the stillness of the body. But also the flow. Even when we're not moving, the breath flows. The diaphragms move. And if you wish to add on a vagus nerve release here, and sweep your gaze, eyes open or closed, all the way to the right, to the periphery of your vision, and keep your vision there. The head is still, although you may feel like it wants to go to the right with the eyes. Keep the eyes right and the head centered. Notice if there are any shifts in tension. One more inhale. And exhale, bring the eyes back to center. Pause. And when ready, sweep the eyes to the left. Expand your awareness. Around 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. As the eyes return back to center. Perhaps you start to drop the head a little and remove any bolsters so you can come right onto the belly. Just notice the lower back. And notice the belly. From here, slide those hands toward the shoulders to press yourself up to tabletop. Maybe, although it's not really yin, maybe you floss at the spine or stay at stillness. You could always sink your bottom to your heels. We will do a counter pose now, the opposite. Work on the bladder meridian. So come on to your seat. Legs can be long here. If it's too much to have the legs long for the lower back, you could do a one-sided variation. And I'll let you know halfway through when to switch sides. But with whatever variation you take, first of all, if you're hyperextender, you may want to put a little folded blanket underneath, or fold this blanket that you might have underneath your legs, so that you have a little bit of a cushion so you don't hyperextend, and then you can allow your feet to soften. You might also take bolsters and pillows on your lap so you can fold forward. Just make sure the bolster's not right on the knees. There's no pressure on the knees. So find your variation. I'm going to choose a rounded spine because this is passive here. Just breathe into the lower back. Perhaps into the back of the heart. And breathe into the belly. Perhaps you continue this cycle. We change or shift our awareness. Perhaps back to the lower back for a few breaths. And perhaps to the back of the heart again. And return to belly breath. Free to continue that cycle. Engaged in the one-sided variation with the other side. So lengthen the bent leg and bend the lengthened leg. Sole of foot to the inseam of the opposite thigh. Continue to cycle that breath to give you a point of focus. You choose where awareness will shift there. But you want to focus on discipline the mind. To go beyond old patterns. Easier said than done. But see even for a moment. And focus all your attention where you want it. Sense the presence and power in it. More wide inhale. Sigh it out. As you slowly begin to roll up, if you were forward, take your time. And pause at the top. One more inhale and exhale. Counterpose to this, where you open the front. You could always choose to leave that out if you don't like kind of the counter pose. That direct, opposite, exact opposite can be kind of intense for some people. So you might just choose to open the legs in cobblers, or what we refer to in yin as butterfly, or perhaps dragonfly with the legs wide. Could also do the same thing seated. If you like counter poses like I do, you'd like to open up the heart now. Perhaps you take your pillows or your bolster, or even a folded blanket, so it's very skinny along the spine, and allow your bottom to sit on the earth and your spine to come along the bolster. I'm actually going to have more of my chest, my thoracic spine on the bolster. And open up across the shoulders here. This is the kidney meridian. It seems to the legs. At this heart opening, expansion also of the lungs. So breathe perhaps into the front of the heart this time. We move further into the practice. Move further into silence. Allow any chatter to fade into the background. Notice if the mind has wandered. Minds often tend to do. Bring it back to here, now. Support yourself as we transition onto our spines. Perhaps you take the hands and close the legs like a book. Be a pause here. Maybe you let the knees come together as you heel toe the feet to the outside edges of the mat. Sense into the pelvic floor. Breathe as if that breath could go all the way down to your toes. Or inhale. As you exhale, bring the feet back and roll onto one side. You could even stay on your side for Savasana. Perhaps you can to the back. And where any pillows you have or bolsters could come underneath the hamstrings. It's an option. Or something very soothing. Can be to have a breath arm, a pillow. It needs to be bent and planted. And maybe you take legs up. And let everything flow from your feet all the way into your center. Let flush out your brain as the shoulders heavy. You could stay here for Savasana, any variation you choose. To return to stillness. To again practice mindful awareness. Alert rest. More breaths. Notice any pauses between the breaths, moments of complete stillness. Feel the points of contact with the earth, wherever they may be, to ground yourself once more. If the legs are up, perhaps you bring one down and then the other. Perhaps if your bolster's underneath the hamstrings, you rock the legs side to side to massage them. Maybe give yourself a long body stretch. Bring on a yawn, let it come real. Before